Welcome back to Halloween month 2022, and this being week 2, I figure we'd take a second to look at probably the greatest example of a movie to take the horror genre and combine it with some good old sci-fi. This movie made a great appeal at the theaters when I was growing up because everybody thought, yeah, man, we're going to go search the cosmos. We're going to see what sci-fi and good old horror with a classic villain looks like. And I just can't even say this shit anymore with a straight face. Play the fucking music. Ah, yes, the cinematic bumbling mess known as Jason X. Or Jason 10, if that's a Roman numeral. I never figured that out. But just goes to show when a franchise goes too damn far. This is a classic move that has been used by certain franchises. When we run out of ideas and places to go, hey, let's just go to space. And yeah, Fast and Furious 9, F9, whatever you want to call yourself, I'm talking to fucking you. What an abomination. I'm only putting this one in this category for horror movies because that movie was an absolute fucking tragedy as to what they do to cars and physics. But fuck that movie, that's another video. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this cinematic mess and see how Jason fares in fucking space. We start this one off with, of course, it's gotta be Jason's ugly bumpy head getting an injection here. I sure to hell hope it's some heroin. Something needs to calm this asshole down. We take a look into his eye, and the reflection we see looks like a doctor of some sort. As this doctor stares back into his eyes, I guess he sees this imagery of hell that takes us into our opening credits sequence. Okay, cute little touch. Well, out of that trance, we're welcome to our first starting location, the Crystal Lake Research Facility. And yes, thank you for telling who our subject is. Of course, it's Jason. What's he doing? Awaiting cryogenic suspension. What, you're gonna freeze him? It's not exactly fucking leftovers, but sure, why not? As he sits and ponders, our first appetizer of the evening walks into the room. Jason cuts him a nice look, and he just cuts the most awkward look like, please don't kill me, and proceeds to deliver just awkward line delivery.
Why don't you stare at this for a little while, you ugly bastard?
Yeah, sure, cover him up. You know, like he's a bird in a cage. Yeah, that's gonna make him go to sleep. That's gonna make the bad man go away. Outside, what looks like the definition of evil and corruption comes down the hall and intercepted by lady who proceeds to have a conversation with evil man, and they share their differences about what to do with Jason. She wants to freeze him, and he wants to study him. And of course, the toxic masculine man wins the conversation, no opposition needed. As they enter the room, you wonder, did they really win? Maybe. Looks like Jason's going to sleep. Of course he hasn't. Seeing that he's been replaced, evil man looks in horror as Jason proceeds to do his thing, taking the guards out one by one. Kill. Great way to wake up from a long nap in that birdcage. Evil guy tries to get away, but Jason spears him like a harpoon. Get over here! And gives him a somewhat satisfying end. But for whatever reason, Lady hasn't left the area, so she decides to take a peek at what's going on and, of course, finds a dead general. And, oh, how convenient, he has a weapon for her to use. He tells her to get the hell out of town, and Jason gives her a little reminder, and she fucks right off. Deeper into the building, Jason proceeds to stalk his prey, and she comes to a heavy door and to check if he's still following. Yeah, of course he is. He's right behind you, bitch. You better keep running. She lures him down into this room and takes a little stalking position behind some cover, and once Jason comes in,
surprise, motherfucker,
she gets to jump on Jason with a 12-gauge dose of justice and actually shoots him into this chamber. She seals him in, and we find out this is the cryogenic freezing chamber, and she knows she has him locked in there. Clever girl. But for whatever reason has to go and look directly in the window to verify. And of course, to the gut, you deserve that. That's one hell of a machete to go through a door that should be reinforced. No matter. The coolant agent leaks out and it affects our lady. and she slowly begins to freeze. And also our Jason, in this pose for whatever reason. To show the passage of time, we add some cobwebs to our stairwell, and a group of explorers come into play here, and of course they come across the cryo chamber, and you look familiar. They take great curiosity into this chamber, and they open the door, and we find a frozen Jason standing in this menacing pose. I mean, isn't that the point where you close the door immediately? Does this look friendly? Does this look like something that's just inviting? No matter.
What the hell is that?
Humanoid. Organic composition is unclear.
Oh yeah, they find Frozen Lady 2, not in the position she was frozen in, but whatever.
Cell crystallization is at 25%. Suggest extensive nanotech and phase 1 cell reconstruction.
And one of these Star-Lord cosplaying geniuses likes to get in sticky situations. For some reason, goes over to the chamber to get this cup off his hand, and, well, no matter that he lost that arm, but we have great medicine for you here, and everything's all good. They head back to their ship and let their pilot know they're about to evac. The smaller shuttle takes them up to a larger shuttle where they unload their findings. Okay, we brought Lady. That's okay. And for whatever reason, we brought the frozen popsicle with a hockey mask holding a machete. That seemed like a good idea. Sure, why not? We meet Dr. Guy and Black Army General Security Guard, Black Muscles. And he just asks for a little reassurance that, hey, the lady, bring her back to life. That guy holding a machete, don't do that. He says, oh, don't worry, it's impossible. And yeah, just wonder, how do you know that? They head off to the lab to discuss a plan of action. But before we really get this party started, let's put this dumbass's arm back on. And for the main event, we start the reanimation process of Lady and observation of the killer in the hockey mask. We don't know he's a killer yet, but he's just holding a machete and concealing his identity. But this is still a good idea. While they work, we find out a couple things. Technobabble Lady is actually a robot. Blonde Lady finds out that Jason has a small brain, and we find these two fucking fucks can't keep their goddamn pants on and just want to fuck. Really? With this guy laying on the table. Okay, it's gonna be that kind of movie, huh?
No shit.
So while our frozen lady is being covered in some kind of nanobot things, Blonde Lady wants to, I guess, take a closer look at the small brain of Jason and removes his eyeball for whatever reason.
Yes, science!
Meanwhile, Dr. Guy keeps checking our frozen one, and she wakes up to great success and asks, where the hell am I? And like, you're on our ship, don't worry about it. It's only been, you only been frozen for 400 years. Dr. Guy proceeds to tell a colleague of his that he found another frozen specimen that they can show off for money, because it's all about money, and the old guy really doesn't give a damn, but he's more interested in Jason, and lets him know that, hey, by the way, he's killed 200 people. Still a good idea to keep him on the ship, huh? No time to think about that. This horny fuck wants to fuck. Is everybody on the ship just horny? I mean, fucking, okay, fine, be horny, but sure, movie, go ahead. But Blonde Lady seems to be the only one interested in her work, as she takes more interest in Jason, but perhaps there's a glimmer of hope, a rainbow on Jason. This might not be so bad, until they cut to what our Dr. Guy is doing with Horny Girl number 2, and the robot wants tits to feel real. Where are we going? Let's go back to the lab. Jason starts to make a move as a twitch, as to show his reanimation, but let's not explore that for a second. Let's go back to the first two horny sons of bitches that, oh God, where's this movie going? Back to the lab, thank God. She notices Jason moving, noticing there's a little less ice on him. Maybe I paid no mind to that. It's all part of the process. Until he rises up like the Undertaker and decides to go say hello to her. In the next room, her cries are not heard, and Jason, I gotta give him a little credit. It's kinda cool. He takes her over to a sink and dunks her head in, and we find out that's full of liquid nitrogen. I don't know how many people just keep liquid nitrogen in an open sink like that, but sure, why not? This is 455 years into the future. We'll allow it.
Not a good time to lose one's head.
Indeed.
He heads over to a table and decides to get a proper weapon. And like a lost child, he stalks the halls looking for, well, we know what he's looking for, his next victim. Doctor goes to talk to Lady and tells her how it's the year 2455 and how everything they do, well, is pretty much for money. She tells him about what she used to do, working on studying Jason and how they tried everything they could to kill him, except for trying
Liquid hot magma.
It's almost as if the movie's hinting at why there are so many damn sequels in this franchise, perhaps.
In the end, it always comes down to money.
She goes and meets some more of the crew and sees one of them holding that machete she recognizes and says, "How did you didn't bring him on board, did you?" And he's like, "Hey, relax, it's okay. He's dead." She doesn't believe him, of course, and says, "Show me." The only thing they show her is the blonde lady's body. And our black general does not take this lightly and orders a lockdown on the ship. So that grabs the attention of these two horny fucks, and horny guy number one wants to get up to leave, and oh, surprise, surprise, Candygram. For whatever reason, Jason doesn't kill horny girl number one, and Black General demands that the doctor get his crew into the lab. He's going hunting. We got a new player in the arena, Bald Guy, who is battling a goddamn Demigorgon. This is a sudden change of pace for this movie. Well, whatever, he thinks he got this thing, goes to take some cover, and it pops back up, and oh, it's the guy that lost his arm. And oh, okay, so these guys are monster hunting now. That's an interesting change. Yeah, let's introduce some new characters to go along with our main antagonist. Oh, wait, there he is. Okay, so the two guys confront him, and he gives this fucker a new outlook on life and slice of his time, I guess. And for Bald Guy, decides to take his head off.
That's not the way to get ahead in life.
No.
But of course, some cheap fake out just to find out they're playing some goddamn video game. Wait! They're playing a game? They're playing a video game? What the? Wait, whoa. Hold on. The Black General guy just fucking ordered the ship on lockdown. These assholes are over here on the projection holodeck, what the fuck ever, playing a goddamn video game. Well, how does the lockdown alarm systems not kick into a failsafe to shut this goddamn game off to let them know, hey, danger. No, let them finish their game. They're in the last quarters. Sure, movie. Yeah, I'm gonna drink with you, movie. Hey, cheers. Shit. But Jason is there. Bald Guy decides to help out Dumb Guy. Gives Jason a couple rounds to the body.
You shot me in the ass! It's a surface wound.
But Jason is non-affected, breaks Dumb Guy's back, and fucking takes this guy and gives him another lesson about head trauma. Our Black General, hell-bent on catching this monster, is stopped by Dr. Guy and offers him $500,000 to bring Jason in alive. He goes to discuss this with his young group of ready-for-war grunts and just tells them, you know what, blow his ass to hell. And of these young cocky grunts, I wonder how many of them won't make it to the end of the movie? So they head out on their hunt, 2x2 formation, and the natural thing to do, let's split up. Of course, it's a horror movie. And they find our gamers dead in the game room. But a clue, a blood trail. Let's follow it. And for our next scare of the evening, we have Engineer Guy working in his lab, not paying attention to anything, of course, until he notices something, but Black General is here to save his ass.
Let's get down now!
Well, they continue their hunt, stalking slowly, stalking carefully, but Jason just starts to pick them off one by one. This guy, I guess he thinks he has it figured out. He takes position like he's up in a sniper's nest, but as Jason ain't got time for that shit, says a nice how do you do and throws him onto a giant screw. I'd love to know the functionality of this on this ship. Everything's under control. Our grunts search on and they find our guy who just got screwed.
He's screwed.
And badass dark-head chick says,
Let's smoke this fucker.
great line delivery. But as she separates from the other lady grunt, she, of course, has Jason sneak up on her, gets her throat slashed. Guess he found what he was looking for. Takes aim, knocks Jason back on a hook, and of course he calls in to everybody saying, I got him. Did you though? Did you? As his screams bellow out, he finds out that Jason is only half of his problem. Who has taken the time to replace our young other lady grunt on the hook he was on? Black Cap goes in for a rescue mission just to leave the wondering notion of, are we at this point tired of all this one by one separation of people when it comes to hunting down a psychotic killer? Will this be the one that does it to just end the trope? That ought to do it. Maybe, maybe not. Dr. Guy blames their death on not waiting until they got to this outpost, Solaris. Pilot calls in, they're making their approach just to look up and get an unexpected visitor out of you-know-who. So naturally, with no one at the controls of this ship, they come in just a tad bit hot. A little bit rougher of a docking than they actually wanted to get. But no matter, their ship just shreds through the outpost like butter, and they breeze on by, taking it out completely, but not their ship. But once they settle down from all that excitement, a knock at the door, of course. Oh, who could that be? Who is it? But while they're focused on the door, from behind, through the glass, comes good old Jason, because nobody was actually looking in any other direction.
Surprise, cockbags!
They take off like bats out of hell, and, well, guess Dr. Guy didn't quite make it out. He gives Jason his good old trusty machete, and Jason gives him a demonstration on how it's used. The group decides to make a run for an escape shuttle that they have, and outside find a dead grunt. Lady picks up his weapon and is quickly questioned if she knows how to use it.
Whoa, you know how to use that thing?
Yep, it's just like riding a bike. Once you learn, you never forget how.
Well, when exactly in the hell did you learn how to use a weapon from 2455? Just curious. Our nerdy guy and the robot lay out a small arsenal they have to make their last stand, and as they discuss the odds of survival, talk about 12%, we find out the true nature of this robot. She's a sex bot. Of course. And the odds go up to 53%. Disturbing. So while those two fuck, our final three girls become the Charmed Sisters, while our engineering and remaining black guy go to check on the pilot. Not good. Lady stalks the halls and finds our black general. He's still alive. She goes to notify our engineer and remaining black guy, and he goes to help her. While they're gone, the engineer gets an unexpected visit from Dr. Guy.
It's a shame he wasn't more headstrong.
Hearing the screams, one of our remaining females that's supposed to be preparing the shuttle just loses her shit. Not being able to take it anymore, she just can't wait for the other people to prepare the shuttle to leave, so she decides to just take off on her own. And of course, epic fail. Jason pops in to say hello, and when all hope seems lost, our sex bot shows back up. Her lover proceeds to tell Jason that he gave her an upload. Yeah, I bet you did. Feeling cocky and arrogant, Jason absolutely does not give a fuck and lets her meet his machete. And thinking she's down for the count, she lets Jason know she's not going down without a fight. Gives him a super punch and gets even more cockier. Well, more cock than she's already had. Feeling the confidence of their lone warrior, they watch as she just goes on an epic shooting spree, just firing round after round at Jason, and using every weapon in her arsenal, she finally pulls out the last one and sends Jason flying through a door to a table. Might as well blow his head off too for good measure. All seems good and well, right? Sure, let's celebrate. Please, guys, not here, not here. They get our black general to a medical bay and proceed to patch him up. They also find out their distress call has been received and rescue is on the way, but they're 45 minutes out. But realizing they only have 30 minutes worth of air, they have to come up with a plan. Lady devises a silly plan, but maybe effective, to separate their damaged half of the ship from the good half of the ship. But elsewhere, where Jason was blown into oblivion and everything around him was damaged, the bed he landed on just seems to kick back on for whatever reason and decides to start its process of doing what it does. You know, you remember this bed. This is the bed that brought our frozen lady back to life, and it just decides to put Jason back together for whatever reason. Just automatic? Is that how this thing works? Oh, what the fuck ever. Our team works and works without knowing what's going on until he finally shows himself. Super Jason. Trying to figure out how this happened, as is the audience. Our sexbot steps up to the plate to take him on again. Jason, not impressed, new and improved, goes and says hello to her one more time and gives her a hearty pat on the head to say good job.
You'll never be the head of a major corporation.
Okay, that'll do.
Okay.
And while Lady thinks she can take him on hand-to-hand combat style,
He's much better fighter than you.
our nerd guy looks in disgust as his sex bot has been ruined. Jason tosses her across the room, giving them a chance to escape narrowly, while our other black guy stays behind and makes the ultimate sacrifice. Detonator in hand, he tells Jason, "Fuck you," and blows the charges. A true hero indeed. You made the ultimate sacrifice. Sir, your service will not be forgotten. As our nerdy guy mourns the destruction of his sex bot, the pilot answering their distress call makes contact. He prepares to set up to dock with the ship, but Jason decides to pop in again from outside the ship. The hole he punches through creates more suction than that sex bot could ever produce, and our poor scared girl hangs on for dear life. Not wanting to die, she reaches and clings out for Lady, but she just can't reach it, and she expresses exactly how I feel about this damn movie.
Oh, this sucks on so many levels!
And through the hole she is gone. With a bit of luck, a piece of debris clogs the hole and the crew is able to get out. But the shuttle is having problems lining up its doors, getting them to open and function right. Crew finds out that somebody has to go outside and hardwire the doors, but Jason ain't got time for that. Our brave black general takes on the mission and goes outside to fix the problem. With Jason in hot pursuit, they know they have to create a diversion, so Nerdy Guy comes up with a plan and takes his head, hooks it up to a computer while Jason is sitting in a certain room. It's the video game room. He programs a little scenario that Jason might be familiar with. Why would this guy know anything about this? Don't fucking know. But he takes him back to his old stomping grounds, good old Crystal Lake, entices him with something that should be right up any guy's alley.
Hey, you want a beer?
Right?
Or do you want to smoke some pot?
Right?
Or we can have premarital sex.
Right? Haha, Jason doesn't give a fuck about that shit as he plays whack-a-mole with him. The diversion works as our black general is able to get the doors open and our remaining crew members are able to cross over to the shuttle. The rescue ship pilot has to disconnect and our black captain steps up to the plate again. Like an absolute fucking Chad, he takes on Jason one-on-one. They get away and the ship blows up. Thinking that's the end of Jason, they see him again. Of course, he's flying through space like Mary fucking Poppins, also known as Leia Skywalker. But once again, Captain Black General to the rescue as he grabs a hold of Jason, proceeds to take Jason into atmosphere. Now, I will admit, as dumb as this movie is, this was kind of badass. This dude is surfing Jason into the atmosphere. Lady, Nerd Guy, and Robohead watch as he sends him to his doom, and two random campers are looking up at the stars and say, "Oh, look, a shooting star. Hey, let's go have a look at it. Looks like it landed over there. Goodbye." And with a small sense of maybe this shit coming to an end, Jason's mask just sinks to the bottom of the lake. Where's the body? Yeah, so Jason in space, you know. Okay, fine, you want to take a little chance on something. We're gonna go to space instead of being at Camp Crystal Lake. But you still snuck Camp Crystal Lake in there in more ways than one. We start there, we fucking go back there in a holodeck kind of projection, and then at the end of the movie, you know, what does that leave us at? We're at Earth 2 now, so is that the plan? To keep this going? Jason survives re-entry and we're just gonna continue these fucking movies into Earth 2? Honestly, I don't know, because the only one I watched after this was Freddy vs. Jason, because it was Freddy vs. Jason. Now, who the fuck didn't really want to watch that movie? I mean, shit, it was aight. But there was another movie in 2009, fucking Friday the 13th. That's all it's called. No numbers behind it. No Jason Goes to Hell or Jason X, just Friday the 13th. And that's another trait that these horror movies do. Well, let's just stop numbering them and just call it after the first one. Other movies do this too, and it shows laziness. You know what else shows laziness? This entire goddamn fucking movie. So it's in the books. What the fuck ever. They got whatever money they did out of it. I don't care. I'm not looking up anything on this. I'm not looking any more into these goddamn movies. You can kiss my ass. Fuck this shit. See you next week. Goddamn drink one for me, because I'm going to drink one for you, and probably more.